Hello, I'm Divya Shah and welcome to Mental Health Matters, a special series by Relief and You. The pandemic has tested our physical, mental, and emotional strength. Although the number of cases have come down, but many of us continue to feel the stress, the anxiety. How do we manage our emotional health during these times? Joining us today is Dr. Gaurav Deka, a medical doctor turned psychotherapist, a TedX speaker, a writer, and international coach. So, Dr. Gaurav, my first question to you will be, why do you think people reacted differently to the pandemic? Some were calm, some were anxious. Why do you think this happened?
Well, I think that's a fabulous question, Divya. The reason why we feel different responses and different reactions at different times is simply because human beings are not linear beings. They do not have linear identities. There are several parts to a human being's emotional landscape. There is an angry part of me. There is a frustrated part of me. There is a joyous part of me, maybe a magical part of me, a wondrous part of me, and also probably a frustrated part of me. And all of them coexist in harmony, these different personalities, these sub-personalities as we call them. However, what happens is in stressful environment, in pressurizing atmosphere, in atmosphere which ignites our sympathetic response, flight, fight or freeze, in those circumstances, what happens, the worst part of us also comes out. For example, we are not probably angry people, but then the anger part of you comes up and gains dominance over you. We probably do not show our frustration as much, but then in stressful environments, for example, the isolation, the disconnection, the lack of connection, lack of intimacy, all of that has brought the frustrated subpersonality within us out of us, and that gains dominance because several subpersonalities come together and make one human being. So that's why it is happening. As I said in my earlier response, the pandemic has brought out a lot from within us, simply because we do not have a reference point as to how to deal with this environment, how to deal with this situation right now. There is a lack of connection, a lack of intimacy. We are not able to physically meet each other. We are unable to put across our thoughts, articulate them, think in a proper manner, and even take actions. We don't know what is going to happen because there is so much of uncertainty, as a result of which this creates a bubble of uncertainty, isolation, lack of control, and that becomes a huge stressor for all the vulnerable, weaker, let's say the angry, frustrated, depressed, sad parts of us to move out and come out the open. That's the reason why people are experiencing these explosions, or let's call them flare-outs. I think one of the things that I tell most of my clients is to make a list of things that you can control and you cannot control. So for example, you can control how to wear your mask, and the fact that you are not going out of home, or the fact that you can still communicate with your friends and loved ones via phone or via video call. What you cannot control is, of course, the amount of time that is going to go in a lockdown. How long it is going to be, we don't know. Or maybe if the other person in front of you is wearing a mask or not, you can't control. So when we write down list of things that we can control and list of things that we cannot control, at least we become aware that, well, there is a universe, there is a world which is still under my control. I still have some sense of connection, control, safety. That's what is important. Well, I think that's a difficult question to answer, simply because we still do not know what is the impact of the emotional wounds and the trauma that we will be going through. But what we have to remember, for us and also for, let's say, the next generation who are going to come, is to know that we have survived, that there are survival stories as well. It's not just death and destruction and loss and vulnerabilities and people losing each other, but it's also surviving, knowing how a new normal can be established, knowing how we have still made it this far and we will still be able to make it. So I think stories of victory and survival stories always help us cope better in the long run. And when we tell these stories to, let's say, our loved ones, our younger ones, they actually realize that, well, our previous generations were strong enough to move out of this trauma, and they were and it's not just a story of perishing, but also a story of surviving and being victorious.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gaurav Deka, for the valuable insights, and I'm sure our viewers too benefited from the discussion. For more on mental health matters, please check our website, and you can also write to us on help@reliefandU.org. Till then, stay safe, stay strong.